and here we go.
There's the deluge. Here's ignition.
Roger roll, Atlantic. Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Gino.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
We did have an observation.
Equalize.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my god.
Yikes, you bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Oh, good morning, early night. Hey everyone, how's it going? Yeah, it's Ryan Weber here. I don't normally host these, but well, other circumstances that happening. So here I am. We're gonna try this out, see how it goes. So yeah, I'm not alone though. I have DYs here to help me cover Starlink 10-43 here early in the morning in the Space Coast.
Absolutely. It's a morning out here. There are clouds. There's been some rain off and on, but hopefully the weather will cooperate and we will have a liftoff here in just over 50 minutes.
Yeah, we'll definitely see that. I just looked at the weather recently. I'll go back to that in a minute. But we also have Jake Keegan producing, and I think we got Pizza doing some cameras and other things like that. But otherwise, yeah, we've got basically a normal Starlink mission, as normal as they can be with how sparse they are now. Since just read the instructions isn't used anymore, and yeah, so it's 29 Starlink V2 minis that are coming up on booster 1090-12. This will be a 12th flight for this booster. I don't know. Do you want to cover all the facts of this booster for us?
Absolutely. So this is B1090-12. So this will be its 12th flight today. It is going into a 77-day turnaround. So it's been a while since it last flew, but it has supported a few missions other than just Starlink missions, including O3B mPOWER E, Crew 10, Bandwagon 3, O3B mPOWER D, CRS 33, and of course a number of Starlink missions. So after today's launch, it will have launched a total of 213 satellites. Now, today, as is now usual for Space Coast missions, it will be landing on a shortfall of Gravitas, and the fairings will be recovered by the fairing recovery vessel Bob out northeast in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, as you said, yeah, basically, and everything is using shortfall of Gravitas nowadays. Now, in terms of weather, we have a probability of violating weather constraints. We're at 70%, so it's a 30% go at the moment. It looks like got cumulus cloud rule, thick cloud layers rule, and the surface static fields rule. So there's definitely some weather. In fact, there's some cells just to the north of the Cape right now. Maybe they're going slow enough that the booster will be able to thread its way in between them, and whatnot. But we're just kind of waiting to see if they're going to go into count here. Either way, if you have any questions, no. Yes.
While we do have that 30% go, it's also worth noting not factored into that 30% go is the additional risk criteria for solar activity and booster recovery weather. So solar activity is low, so that's good. But the weather for booster recovery is moderate to high, which isn't the best. but we will have to wait and see. Wind is, I'd say it's picking up a bit here on the Space Coast. We've got significant cloud cover overhead here, but they have threaded the needle before. Perhaps they will get lucky this morning. There is no way to know until we wait and see.
Absolutely. And as always, if you have any questions, you can tag at NSF or at NASA Spaceflight in the chat, and we'll try to answer any questions that you got. But other than that, I mean, other than this being just your normal Starlink, I know there's been a lot of other fun stuff going on at the Space Coast lately. I know it was talked about on another Starlink stream. We might as well just get into it because I know we'll get questions on it at one point or another. But what happened with New Glenn, and it's not. Oh, as soon as I start talking about something else. We've entered a hold now into the count, so we'll wait to see what the new T0 is here for SpaceX and see what's happening here.
I can't exactly say I am surprised. It has
No.
been consistently looking at rain throughout the morning. Like, I'm very thankful we don't have rain right now, but I have bags at the ready in case we need to cover up our gear. But I mean, there you can see the clouds overhead here a bit. It's hard to capture the clouds on these nighttime views, but we'll see what that new T0 may be. It sounds like they may be going for 6:45 a.m. Eastern time, so that's about an hour and 20 minutes from now. Hopefully they're able to hold, but we know the way these things go. They regularly adjust to get around the weather, and it seems like that's what they are trying to do today.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if they're able to thread that needle. The window for this is open all the way until let's see, what was it? It's open all the way till 8:02 a.m. Eastern. And right now they're scheduling liftoff for around 6:45, so they still have more time in the window to go. But we'll have to wait and see if they have to push for, or if they're again able to thread the needle and get it off just around 6:45. For our sakes, I kind of hope they do. Just saying. But anyways, yeah. Before we were rudely interrupted with the the hold and the countdown change, I was gonna cover. I know it's probably been talked about a lot, but we might as well just cover it since it's a Space Coast stream. The anomaly with New Glenn, and whatnot, and them having to rebuild their pad and everything. I know Dave Limp had mentioned a few things about how they're going to change the way they're doing things while also rebuilding the pad. I don't know if Dave, you had any thoughts on some of the stuff that's come out since the anomaly happened.
Yeah, so it's been a very chaotic time trying to keep up with everything since that anomaly first happened. Like, we obviously saw it happen live on Space Coast Live, and a number of NSFers hopped on to provide an impromptu stream talking about what we witnessed, what it could mean. But with time, of course, more information has come to light. We were able to fly on Friday morning to see some of the damage with the one standing tower. It does have some damage at the base of it. Of course, the TE is wrecked, but the actual ground infrastructure looked pretty good. And with Dave's tweets, I have to say, I would love if that the speculated timeline as before the end of the year for the next launch. I would absolutely love it if that comes to be, but I'm not going to hold my breath about it. It seems like while they have had their preliminary look at the pad, no doubt they are going to continue to learn more and more as they dive into everything. I'm very interested to see what their integration procedures look like when they're not rolling out horizontal and using a TE to go vertical. That'll be an interesting change, but clearly they just want to get back onto the pad. They want to get launching. They have their manufacturing capability built out. And so they are continuing to manufacture the 7x2 variant here, keeping that going despite the stand down. So I mean that seems like a really good plan. I hope they can make that timeline, but I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if it slips to Q1, Q2 next year. But again, there's no way to know for sure exactly how that will go until they're on the pad and launching again. It's impressive. They have such a good understanding, it seems like already, on what their path forward is, and I don't know. There's a lot to think about, a lot to know. The number of the amount of other infrastructure that was at the launch pad during that explosion, including the other GS1 and 3 GS2s, like the fact that they apparently look good, that's impressive. Who knows if we will see them fly? I hope we are able to see them fly, but that's a very that's a very dynamic event for them to withstand in very close proximity. To feel too optimistic about them flying, even if they do preliminarily look good. But yeah, there's so much to consider. I think the fact that Blue is at least targeting or looking at these very optimistic timelines is impressive. And I think it's a good sign that even if they don't meet those timelines, it will be hopefully an impressive recovery period.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. I know there's a question from Saad Usmani, basically asking how long it'll take for realistically to fly again. I'm saying 18 to 24 months. I am still saying 18 to 24 months. I look at the damage to the pad and also considering the changes they want to make, as Dee was talking about, and as Dave Limp stated, that they want to go to vertically integrated now. So basically, they're not going to remake a TE. They'll have to make a launch mount over their rebuilt flame trench because the flame trench is gone. It's trashed. They'll have to redo the whole thing. They'll have to rebuild that, put a mount in, and with no TE anymore, they don't have a way to hook into the QDs on the vehicle, which means they'll have to make arms and add that to the fixed service structure that's also decently damaged. So if they can get that fixed and then add arms to it, if it was built to load all those arms, that's a whole other matter entirely. But they'll have to hook up QDs to that. They'll have to, come up with all the procedures. They'll have to engineer all that stuff, as well as find a way to actually stack the vehicle at the pad, like vertically, because there's no sticks, there's no chopsticks. That tower was not designed for them. They'll likely need a crane. They'll have to move a crane away and towards the pad until they come up with a different solution. There's a lot of big question marks, and there's a lot to fix. Again, I always go back to Massey's. It took SpaceX 8 months to fix Massey's there, and that's not a full launch site. All that is for Starship static fire testing. I think this will take significantly longer. I'm still going to say at least 18 months, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'll let you have your usual sort of somewhat pessimistic view on it, and I don't know. I think I really I can't see Blue actually meeting that end of year timeline, but I would absolutely love to be proven wrong. I think if they fly before this time next year, I would still be impressed with the turnaround. And there's another thing worth noting, that obviously any of these anomalies, it's not good to see, but with the important caveat, all people were safe. They have blast danger areas for a reason, so nobody was in danger from this anomaly. With that important caveat, the 45th Space Wing was actually able to gather very important data as a result of it. It's really looking at the bright side of a not good situation. But hold on one second. There's a weather siren at the moment.
Oh, that's fun. I'll let D deal with that here. We'll talk about that when D comes back because I haven't had the chance to update with that. I've been busy doing So for those who didn't hear that, that's a phase 1 for all areas until 0900 local. Trying to remember, they can launch in a phase 1 if I remember correctly. It's a phase 2 that they can't really. Yeah, it's phase 2 that they can't do it in.
Yeah. The phase 1 is that there is lightning forecast in the area. The phase 2 is more like there's actively lightning. However, there was also a statement about winds, I believe, gusting up to 35 knots, and so it's sounding like those winds would be red for launch. To real quick touch. Look, like I think we all expect continued delays here with the weather. We just have to wait and see, and we'll react, of course, if weather worsens and I am not able to be out in the field. I will get to a safe location and secure cameras. So we'll be ready to react to that. But to touch back on the blast danger area and explosion information that the 45th was able to get, it's sounding like now that they have actual data of methane rockets of this scale exploding, they might actually be able to shrink blast danger areas. So, I mean, obviously it was a massive explosion, very spectacular, surprising, unexpected moment. But because they have now witnessed a fueled up orbital class methane rocket go through this sort of rud, they have this sort of data, whether it be pressure waves and debris, all those sorts of things, that they can react accordingly. And while perhaps their previous estimates for blast danger areas might have been overly cautious, now they can potentially shrink those down. Oh, more weather.
I can hear it pretty well too. But
yeah. But anyway, I was just saying that the 45th can now base their safety perimeters around actual data, which will be very helpful for Blue Origin. It will be very helpful for SpaceX because, of course, for launches, they have to close off a big area of, I mean, it's a launch site, but Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station are a whole lot more than just rocket launch sites. And whether that means closing off less additional nearby launch pads, letting people get to offices and travel on additional roadways, having that data is very valuable to ensure that they can keep people safe and, make the most use of the facility even around active events such as launches.
yeah, it's certainly going to be helpful, especially with Starship launching from the Cape, and that's a Methalox rocket, Relativity, Stoke. There's a lot of Methalox rockets that are about to launch from the Cape. So as horrible as it was to see New Glenn go up and take a good chunk of its pad with it, it's definitely a learning experience for everybody, including the range, to understand what a vehicle of that size blowing up would mean, because the Cape and that range hasn't had an explosion like this, I don't think, ever. I know there were explosions in the early days of like older Atlases or smaller ones, but nothing of this size. A rocket of this size going up would have been like a Saturn V going, and that never happened, obviously. So, it's definitely a learning experience, and it's informed them on what a full stack Starship explosion could look like in a more accurate sense if one were to happen. We hope that never happens. SpaceX has gotten lucky in the past. They didn't Down in Starbase, I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind for a full stack possibility was the Flight 1 wet dress rehearsal, where they just dumped a bunch of liquid methane out the side of a vent. Hopefully they don't come close to anything like that again, and we don't actually see one. But the important thing from this to glean is that we now understand blast danger areas a little bit better with Methalox rockets. But anyways, yeah, it stinks. Blue will get back on their feet. That's not something I have any doubt of. They'll figure it out. They'll get back on their fleet. They'll get back to flying. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take in order to fix everything up, get New Glenn back up, and get back to it. I know Jared has been supportive. I saw a lot of SpaceXers incredibly supportive of it. They've experienced runs on the pad themselves. You go back to Amos 6 and Ship 36 and things like that, where not only did they lose the vehicle, but they also damaged the pad or test site significantly. So it's known all too well in the space industry. You know, it stinks when you lose hardware, but it really, really stinks when you lose pad, because vehicles are pretty easily replaced. Usually, it's pad infrastructure that's much, much harder to replace. So, good luck to Blue to fix it. I don't think they'll fly. I doubt they'll fly at the end of the year, but you know, the sooner they do it, I'll still be happier to see New Glenn flying again. But anyways, let's see, what was it? We got a super chat from Byford. Hi, Byford, as a normal, very regular person here in that for NSF chats and everything. Personally, I believe they're overly optimistic for their repair timeline. Good luck for them. Yeah, as we were just talking about. And as for looking for other questions here, I do have one from, I actually want to talk about this personally, and since we got some time on our hands, I do have one from NASA spaceflight itself. You know, thoughts on Amazon. Yeah, who's that? NASA pulling the plug on Stargate because they worried it might only be good for fans. Yeah, that happened. For those who don't know, Stargate, a beloved franchise, absolutely beloved franchise, sci-fi franchise as a whole. At least to me, they were gonna revival. They were gonna do a new series, possibly with cameos from older actors from Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe. But unfortunately, I guess because they thought that it wouldn't glean to a wider audience, they decided to cancel it. And I hope Amazon has a bunch of bad days. I hope so, because I am mad. I want Stargate back. I want Starlink back.
As a non-Stargate viewer, I understand your pain. I do still understand your pain.
Like they got me so excited. They did a whole announcement. They're making it. They were gonna start filming this fall, and then they pull the rug out from under everyone and just cancel it. It's like, come on, really? I'm sorry, no. I just it's got me mad and disappointed in all sorts of ways, and to where I watched Window of Opportunity last night. For those who don't know, Stargate SG-1 Window of Opportunity, O'Neill and Teal'c get stuck in a time loop for a 10-hour time loop, and it goes on for a while. We'll just put it that way. A lot of fun, a lot of shenanigans. Hopefully Stargate comes back at some other point. I would tell Amazon, if you're not going to make a series about it, sell the IP to someone who will, like maybe Apple TV. Maybe they'll make it. But if you're not going to make it, then sell the IP, because there's no reason for it to just sit there, like an awesome franchise like that, to sit there and not get used. So that's kind of what I'll say on that one. Take a look at other questions here. We're currently about T-minus 1 hour, 2 minutes or so from the supposed T0 that we're going to get. I say supposed because there's a lot of weather there. We'll have to wait and see if there's another push into the count, but as of right now, they're still on track. I guess we could quickly go through the timeline here of what we're expecting. D, if you want to run through that if you're able to right now.
Yeah, sorry. I am keeping a close eye on weather as a couple storm fronts are quite rapidly approaching from the north. But we are approaching T-minus 1 hour to launch, which means we've got about 22 more minutes until any real events happen. But at the T-minus 38-minute mark, that is when the launch director will verify go for prop load. As we get closer, it'll be at T-minus 35 minutes that prop load actually begins with RP1 loading on the first and second stage and LOX loading on the first stage. Unless we get a tweet or verification from SpaceX, it'll be a few minutes later where we can actually see that loading happening. We'll be looking for frost on the base of the vehicle, and that'll be our sign that they are, in fact, loading propellant and that they are locked into that T0. Once they start loading Falcon, they can't hold, they can't shift around that time. Up until they start loading, they can continue to shift around the T0 to dodge this weather. As we get closer to launch at T-minus 20 minutes and 20 seconds, they will start LOX chill down for LOX loading on the second stage. That will give us our famous T-minus 20-minute vent. 16 minutes is when that actual LOX loading begins after they have cooled everything down. And the wind is really picking up now. As they get closer and closer, they'll start engine chill at T-minus 7 minutes. They'll have strong back retract at minus 5 minutes. And within the last couple minutes, things will proceed in rapid succession with completion of LOX loading of stage 1 and 2. Propellant tank pressurization, eventually startup, final go for launch, and the all-important ignition at T0.
Yeah, so that's our normal Falcon 9 countdown. It's kind of stayed the same since probably the early days of Falcon 9 at this rate. It's not like Starship where they change it up. When you get an operational rocket like this, especially one that is rated, it is human and crew rated, however you want to call it, you kind of have to keep things in a relative static on the vehicle plus in your count and everything like that. SpaceX, if they really, really wanted to, they could probably fuel Falcon 9 faster, and maybe as fast as they do Starship, or should I say faster than Starship, I should say, because they're about like a minute faster with it right now. But they could probably even get it down to 15 minutes if they really wanted to. That wouldn't be that difficult. The thing is changing that means changing the tank farm, changing your countdown, and you need to recertify that for NSSL and crew launches, and there's no reason to go through all the hassle for that. And it works like it does right now, so we just kind of keep it that way. They don't make it quicker or slower or anything. They just keep with what works, No reason to change it. If it works, don't break. If it works, don't break it. Don't fix it. For now, I'm tired enough that I forgot how the saying goes now. We'll go with that. It's 4:47 here in the morning in Central Time, so for me, so it's kind of weird. But skies look cool, but ominous. I'll go with that. Something along those lines. I don't know how it looks to you, D, on the ground there, but yeah. Oh, I saw you said no talking. Sorry about that. But anyways, so I'll take a look at some questions here. I had someone who's asking, why am I awake at 3:40 a.m. local and watching Starlink launch? That's a good question. I'm here to be here. Hosting a stream, first time ever doing it, kind of stumbling through it, but here we are. And we're having some fun either way. It's a Starlink stream. It's not your ordinary Starlink, even though it is. I don't know if that's also a fun phrase we always like to use, but here we all are watching the Starlink stream, whether we decided to or not. We're here. Trance with the right in the middle of my backswing. Yeah, that's a reference to a window of opportunity right there. I got Lance Anthony here. Is it true that whenever SpaceX posts about 24 satellites, it's Starshield, and when they post 29 satellites, it's normal Starlink? I don't remember if they try to keep whether it's Starshield or not secret, or if they label that as NSSL launch. I don't know, D, if you know off the top of your head on that one.
Yeah, I'll just say I believe they don't really try to pass off Starshield launches as Starlink launches. It's more so the NSSL missions.
Little windy down there, D. That's what it sounded like for a minute there.
Yeah, I am actively packing up and bagging gear to protect it from potential incoming rain right now, and then I am getting inside.
All right, that sounds good. All right. Well, I've seen a few questions in chat asking if I went to bed after the hockey game. I did. I got a little bit of sleep after it. The end of the hockey game disappointed me. I didn't want Vegas to win. Here we are, though. At this rate, it feels like they're going to win the cup as much as I don't want them to do. Hockey talk on NSF with Starlink stream. Well, but it'll do it. We'll just make it quick. But yeah, I'm disappointed. Vegas won. We'll just go with that. I want the Hurricanes to win that series. Well, and I'll just state it again. If you guys got questions, just tag NSF or NSS or Nest Spaceflight in chat, and I'll try to answer them. Just kind of a quick reminder. Now here's one from One Man 2001. Will Falcon beat Soyuz launch record, and if so, when? Well, let's see here. Falcon 9 right now. Looking at total. I'm trying to think. I know this is SpaceX 674th launch overall. I think there is, if we're not counting Falcon 1, Falcon Heavy, plus Starship, you're probably in the 650 range. I'd have to go look up exactly what Falcon 9 is at right now. But basically, SpaceX is about 100 Falcon 9 launches away from tying Soyuz U, which is, I think, it's 756 launches. That's a variant of the R7, of the R7 family of rockets. Now, the R7 family of rockets as a whole, or if you want to classify them all as Soyuz, going all the way back to the original R7 up till Soyuz 2.1, that has over 2,000 launches on it. Considering they've already started scaling back considering they've already scaling back Falcon 9, I don't think they'll beat it. I don't think Falcon will beat the R7 as a whole. Starship definitely will once it gets up and running. I don't know how long that'll take, though. I doubt they wouldn't do that until at least the mid to late 2030s, or if not 2040s. It really depends on how long it takes them to actually ramp things up. But either way, I think Falcon 9 will still beat the Soyuz U record. For the whole R7 record, I don't think they're going to beat that one. As much as cool as it would be for them to beat it, I think that's going to be all Starship's record to beat, to become the most flown rocket ever in history, and even the most flown family of rockets in history. Because there's going to be a lot of different variants of Starship, which could be kind of classified alongside some of the different variants of Soyuz for different mission criteria. But anyways, taking a look here. Let's see here. Got one from Saad Usman for, do you think they will, I think this is a reference to New Glenn, do you think they will have a mobile launcher for vertical ConOps or something like stacking at the pad? I don't think they'll do a mobile launcher. They don't have a vertical integration facility right now. They are building one. but I doubt that would be ready for any return to flight. Foundations are done, and they're kind of putting up steel and whatnot for that. So they're figuring things out on that end. But they'd have to build a whole mobile launcher, and I'll have one. And there's no way to get ML2 down to 36. That would take it feels like that would take like a year to drive that thing down there. And there's no real crawler way that goes, you can't like turn off the crawler way at 39A and then go all the way down to 36. That doesn't really work that way. So there's no way to get that down there unless they were to try to launch out of 39B, which I don't think, if they were going to use that, I think they would wait till like 9x4 to use ML2 if they ever wanted to use it. They're going to have to find a way to use a crane at the pad is my guess. Something like an LR 11,000 with a jib or an LR 11,350 with a jib would be my guess. So it would be a decently sized crawler crane to help with that. And we just entered another hold. Of course, this is gonna be the night. We're gonna enter a hold. They're gonna push and enter another hold and push. They're trying to get around the weather here. So wait to see what the new T0 is. Oh, that's fun. New T0 is an hour and 50 minutes away. Yay. Not surprised at all.
All right. Yeah, it makes sense. The weather is not good right now.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm looking at my radar scope app on my phone, and I see a line of cells like slowly coming south. Like if they're gonna maintain this speed and if they don't dissipate, I mean, yeah, there you go, right there. We'll see if they. I'm just gonna say we'll see if they even go today, because they're pushed to 6:45, which means they only have about an hour and 15 minutes left in the window past this one. We'll see how long it takes for these storms to pass, if they pass. But I would not be shocked if they push again. We'll just have to keep an eye on the weather here. But either way, we have another push.
So, not to correct you, I believe that the window only extends to 8:02, and this latest push is to 7:45 local time. So that you have 15 more minutes left in the window.
Oh, I'm reading that in my own time. That would be why. So they only have 50. Yeah, so they pushed to only 15 more minutes. Thanks, D. Yeah. Well, it's early. It's early in the morning. I was reading that in Central Time, not in Eastern Time. So, yeah, there you go. So yeah, beyond this, they probably would only have one more opportunity, which would be pushing another 15 minutes right up to the end of the window. But either way, SpaceX is going to try to get this thing off one way or the other. They always try to do that. They try to get it off if they can. So, you know, I will just kind of say to, you know, you'll stay tuned and watch us. Maybe we'll have some merch available if something happens. You know, something happens, right? But either way, if not, we have a launch. So, you know, it's, you know, you get pros and cons here, of course. But either way, we are going to end up, we're going to take a break from commentary because I don't know if you guys want to sit here and hear me talk for another hour and 47 minutes, unless you want me to go really, really in depth on how like a Starship tank farm works. I might need illustration and pictures for that one, but I don't know if you want to hear me just kind of ramble. And as much as I know and I like talking, that's a lot to talk. So we're going to take a commentary break while we wait to get closer to the T0. And yeah, so D will be back. We'll be back later on.
So Absolutely. It's windy here, so I appreciate the break to get fully inside.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna cut to music, and we'll talk to you hopefully later or soon. We'll see. Hey everyone, we're back. As I don't know if any of you noticed, for those who have stuck around with us, we have entered another hold. So we're waiting to see what happens here. They still had 15 minutes left in the window, but we don't really know if they had another launch opportunity after the one that they had they were already targeting. So we're kind of waiting to see what the new T0 is, if there is one. So we're back to hang out with you guys. D, I know you had some fun as we all saw back in your cameras, and are here waiting to see if we're actually going to see a launch today.
Yeah, gotta fight the wind. You gotta be out here, whatever the weather, because there's always a chance. They really like threading the needle if they get a chance. They don't want to wait unnecessarily to launch if they would otherwise be able to. So we will wait and see. As you all have probably noticed, their clock on the website has still stuck around in the hold. Usually we would have a new T0, I would think, by this point. They tend to be pretty quick, within like 30 seconds or so of the clock actually entering a hold. There's a new T0, which seems to imply they might not have one in this launch opportunity, but we do have to wait and see. They do, in theory, have time before the window ends.
Yeah, I know a lot of times in the past when they've done a hold like this, that's usually to restart everything and push to another day. I know that the longer holds have usually done that, but then again, we'll just have to see here. Either way, for those of you who stuck around or anyone who's popped in new, this is stream for Starlink 10-43. It's set to take 29 Starlink V2 mini satellites up if it does go today, which, I mean, the weather doesn't look that great. If not, then they'd probably push it at least a day or not. We'll have to wait and see here, though. But yeah, we're waiting for a new T0 if we get one. If they truly were hitting that point, we'd be close to prop load. But with an internal hold on their clock, we're just kind of sitting here and waiting. Yeah.
I will say, from the press site, we've seen the wind and the rain die down and pick up repeatedly. The rain is picking up right now. The wind is also picking up right now, but it is getting brighter, and it's nice to actually be able to see what we're doing out here.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely getting into daylight now. It's 6:07 a.m. where I am, and of course it's 7:08, I should say, now Eastern time. So we're waiting we're just kind of waiting to hear, or waiting to see what the new T0 is. Usually they don't hold for this long. It's actually kind of surprising.
At this point, I think it's quite likely they will move to their next opportunity, but of course, we can't say for certain until they make the call. But if you are still here, in case they do make that call, I'm gonna tease. Jake Egan might get mad at me for this, but definitely stick around, because those of you who have been here for a while know that we do have a tradition that takes place when these things. I'm still not going to say the S word on stream. When these occur, so perhaps stick around, because one way or another, we don't leave these streams or end these streams empty-handed.
Indeed. Now, if for some reason they can't go today, which is looking more and more likely, but then again, we're still waiting to see if they pop a new T0 up on the board. Tomorrow is a much better day for launch. It's only a 15% chance of probability of violations, so you're looking at a 85% chance go. It's much better weather. The only primary concern is cumulus cloud rule. There's no booster recovery weather issues like there is today, which is some medium to high issue for that. But So tomorrow looks a lot better if they end up pushing to their backup window. But of course, SpaceX is always known for threading the needle, sometimes going all the way down to T minus 1 minute or T minus 40, and then they auto abort or whatever you want to call it to because of range issues or whatever like that. We've seen them do that many a times, where they fuel, go down through their count, and then they go, well, range doesn't go, and then they just end it, detank, and try the next day. So we're just kind of waiting to see what happens here. It's still odd that we're going to hold, though. I guess they're taking a while to figure out how to reset the clock here. But go see. But for anyone who's still sticking around, while we're just kind of waiting to see for more information on the possibility of today's launch. I mean, as always, you can tag at NSF or NASA Spaceflight for questions or anything along those lines. I know there's some questions left over from earlier and whatnot, but I definitely see some of the newer ones here. Let's see here. I know someone asking here, are General Joes like me able to get to the press center? I'd love to see a historic countdown clock at least. Well, I know you can definitely get a tour bus run that will take you by the press center. You won't be able to go to it. You'll be able to at least see the press center. You'll be able to go to the 39A gantry, or the gantry that kind of overlooks the Pad 39 complex. You can also see other pads all the way down the Space Coast, and then of course that can take you to the Saturn V Center, where you can see a Saturn V in stages, all horizontal inside of a building. But as for actually getting to the press site, D,
so there are a couple different bus tours you can get at the visitor center, and so they offer general buses that drive out to the Saturn V Center, and that at least drives by the VAB, and you can see the VAB, and if you look closely, you can get a glimpse of the press site. Then they offer things such as the Explore Tour, and some of those additional tours, they'll actually bring you out to the press site parking lot on a bus. They'll park, and you can get out and look around a bit. You can't go off anywhere. You can't get inside buildings or anything like that, but you can get the exact same view that, at least on good weather days, that we are able to provide of the launch pads. Now, those won't line up with launches, but you can see the countdown clock, you can see the VAB from this perspective, and you can look out at 39B, 39A, 41, and 40 from out here at the 39 press site. And of course, I have to say, the gantry viewing for a launch is a wonderful, wonderful place.
Yeah, I will say that too. It's a really cool spot. It's definitely different. It's changed a lot over the years. I know I've gone into the gantry a while back, and you could see all the mobile server structure and stuff at 37. Now, if you go look at Slick 37 from there, you will see a very tall LR 13,000 crane raised, getting ready to stack the first Starship tower there of at least probably 4 towers that's over there. But basically, so that's kind of, you'll be able to see that. You can kind of see 36. It depends on how clear of a day it is. And of course, that would be a little bit of a different skyline with one tower gone at this point. For those who don't know, the Blue Origin anomaly, and of course you get to see a pretty good view of the Starship pad at 39A, as well as the vehicle assembly building and a lot of other stuff. So it's a really fun tour. Anyone who goes down to the Space Coast, I totally recommend doing it. You get to go see a bunch of cool pads. You get to then see a Saturn V on its side, and of course you get to see Atlantis too. If you just go to the visitor center, you get to see Atlantis.
Best shuttle.
Yeah, you get to see a space shuttle. It's awesome.
Best shuttle.
Is it the best? Is it the best?
It is. It's the best shuttle. Absolutely.
I've always, I don't think I have a best shuttle. I love them all. They're all awesome.
What a non-answer.
I know. I haven't seen Endeavor yet. I'm waiting for the the exhibit to open up in California where it's got the full stack. For those who don't know, they're out in California, the Science Museum out there. They have a real external tank, real solid rocket booster casings, and then Endeavor's going to be attached to the side, and that's what it's going to look like. And just like that, looks like Brevard County is deactivating their launch operations support team for a scrubbed Falcon 9 launch. We haven't heard from SpaceX when they're next targeting, but it'd likely be tomorrow. Might have to look exactly what the window is, but it would probably be at least a 24-hour push.
Yeah, so they had another... There we go, with the breaking news for the Scrub merch, which is now out. If you want to talk about the Scrub merch, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so we that's fine. Yeah, we always have merch for scrubs. I watched the whole stream, and all I got was a Falcon 9 scrub. We also have them for Starship and New Glenn and other rockets as well. It's like, yeah, you stuck around to watch the whole stream, and all you got was a scrub. A merch store team always does a really good job with this kind of stuff. And yeah, so there you go. For those who are watching the stream, you can get your scrub merch. It's available for, I think it's 24 hours or something like that. I forget the exact timing. But yeah, it's available for a limited time. As always, after a scrub, and hopefully they'll have a chance of going tomorrow. So something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and tomorrow their window is almost identical. It's technically 2 minutes different, from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And as far as when the earliest T0 within that much larger window is, we'll have to wait and see. But that's a 24-hour push here. But this is a good time. You've got about 7 hours or so on the Scrub merch here with these Starlink missions. So if you want to pick up one of those shirts, now is the time, because they're only out during the scrubs, and as the number of Falcon 9 flights has decreased, the number of Falcon 9 scrubs also decreases. So the opportunities are becoming more rare.
Indeed, because they deactivated a drone ship for Starship Transport Ops. Let's just read the instructions. It's currently undergoing overhaul and some changeover stuff. All they have right now is ASOG, and of course there's a limited number of missions that can do RTLS or return to launch site landings. So yeah, it kind of feels just weird again with the less and less Falcon 9s. We kind of got used to that, like, launch every 2.5 days, and then all of a sudden it was like, nope, that's it for just read instructions, that's it. It was weird. But anyways, yep. Today's attempt of Starlink 10-43 is scrubbed. As the D was talking about, they will likely try for tomorrow. SpaceX has not updated their website yet, but it's very likely they will. They have an 85% go for tomorrow. And yeah, so I guess we'll see you all then. I'll thank D for hanging out with me, just the two of us. My first hosting stream. If I kind of messed up, I mean, this was kind of a spur of the moment thing, but I tried.
Ryan, I've got to say, you did a great job hosting. It takes some getting used to managing all the things you need to. So great to cut your teeth on an early morning Starlink that turned out to be a scrub. It was a pleasure being out here, even though we didn't get a launch today. Stick around. We will be here when this thing does launch. See you all next time.
And I'll just end it off. I'll thank our producer Jay Keegan for hanging out with us as usual, and we'll probably see you all tomorrow around the same time, I guess. Yeah.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange!
Water towers fly!
Bingo! Right in the center.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my god.
Yikes, you bet. We don't need any more of these.